Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Now, this is going to be an interesting week because things are going to change. We're going to show you river levels here in a second, and most of them, I looked at them last night, I didn't look at them this morning, so hopefully it didn't change. But most of the forecasts that actually show a forecast in the long run are showing an interesting rise starting Friday, okay? We'll find out from Peyton Major here in a little bit what kind of rain we got coming, but there is going to be a weather change. There's no doubt about that. So that's a darn good thing. We need snow in the mountains and we need water in the rivers. So at the very least, that the steelhead can migrate and get to where they need to go, because there's just not a lot of water. But it should be a good thing, and in the hopes that that first couple of weeks of February, weather permitting, that fishing is just going to improve. Just based on the calendar, we should be seeing, and the tides, something to pay attention to as well, we should start seeing more fish moving their ways into the tribs. So cross your fingers that actually happens. Now that duck season's off the table for me, I can actually focus on that rather than being pulled in 12 different directions. But again, we'll find out what that rain forecast is actually going to be like. But let's quickly take a look at some of the rivers. You can see that they are forecasting a bounce on the Columbia. And by the way, for folks that have been spending time in the likely areas on the Columbia plunking for steelhead, there's been some success. We got some photos recently that we're going to be able to show here, in a week or two, whatever it is, but have been from folks on the Willamette and the Columbia plunking for steelhead. So interestingly enough, there are some options that are out there that might be different than, say, the smaller tributaries. But again, same thing with the Willamette, very low right now. There's just not a lot of water anywhere. It is forecasted to change a little bit, but these big rivers aren't going to show that for a little while, because it's going to take a bit. With things being so dry for so long, it'll take a little bit of time for these rivers to start to bounce. But you'll see with the smaller rivers, you're going to get a couple foot bounce starting on that Friday. I know most folks have, real jobs, and they're working Monday through Friday. But at the beginning of this next week, not this one, but this next week, could be interesting. Obviously, if you're fishing on the River Rise, it's not the best time, but if you can get out there, things are going to change, and it could get fish moving. Should certainly get them moving, because there's definitely fish that have been held up in a lot of different areas in all these systems. But again, you can see that everything is forecasted to start to bounce a little bit. I'm sure that there'll be some sort of change in that forecast as we go through the week. I'm super interested to see what things look like next Saturday's show. But yeah, things are going to change, and this is all good stuff for all those folks that's just been jonesing to get out, either float, run it in a power boat in the right systems. Of course, things are going to start to turn around, fortunately. And I know that we're strictly talking about steelhead for the next couple of months, right? Because it is too early to be talking about spring Chinook by a landslide. Although I appreciate the questions that we're getting here in the last day or two about springers. But there's a derby that's coming up. This is the Scappoose, the Columbia County Fair. It's at the Columbia County Fairgrounds. This is one that they do each year. This starts on May 3rd, and it is a derby. It's something that you can enter in now, and by all means, have something to look forward to. Hopefully, by May, I'll have a powerboat again. But at the very least, sign up, have some fun, and it's always for a good cause, and you can always have that opportunity. Just cross your fingers for good conditions. You might be lucky. And be a winner. And you're going to want to have some of that free scent. It's easy. Send Jason over at procure.com an email, enter in to win that prize pack. You'll be notified tomorrow if you actually were the ones that were lucky enough to win that prize pack. Now, I know I've already mentioned the weather and what we can kind of look forward to this upcoming week, and things are going to change. You hear me whining about it all year long. Well, maybe not all year. At least during hunting season. But now that that's over, we're all looking for rain, looking for snow in the mountains, and we're certainly looking for conditions that will help the fish to move and obviously give us the opportunity to chase them a little bit. But Peyton, hopefully, there she is, hopefully has a positive report for us. Now, I've cheated. Like everybody else in the state, both states, we're watching you in the morning. We know that we've got some sun still, but we've got some moisture coming.
We do. I think it's exciting because we are on day 13 without any rain.
Jeez.
And today's going to be 14. So, yeah, it's been bone dry out there. It is beautiful. You can't, beat the blue skies in January, especially when we get near 50 degrees. But, yeah, 32 right now out in the metro. Looking at our forecast highs today, very similar to yesterday. So, pretty much going to be the same story for the next couple days, nearing 50 degrees, a lot of us in the 40s, eastern Oregon, mostly sunny and cold. I mentioned that dry spell, and I will say that this is now kind of leaning toward that abnormal dry stretch range. Our longest January dry stretch is 17 days in January 1948. If we don't get rain through Wednesday, which is looking very likely, we're going to tie that record, and if we don't get it Thursday, we're going to beat that record from 1948. Also, just a little perspective here, we're about 2 inches below where we should be in Portland for rain for the month. Elsewhere, of course, that deficit is very evident, especially Astoria, about 3 inches for the month. We should be near 8 inches at this time. All right, let's check out that forecast. This is our European model. Good news is we are going to get rain. It has backed off a little bit timing-wise. I will say that this thing is probably not going to arrive until maybe midnight Friday instead of later Thursday. But yes, we are going to get a good beneficial rain and some mountain snow. I'll kind of compare models here really quick. Some areas are showing maybe ½ inch for Portland Friday, another a little bit on Saturday for Portland. Another model is actually hinting at a little bit more rain. So that's something we're going to continue to monitor. We do know that rain will hopefully help those river levels. And then also it's going to be a pretty active start to February. So that's great news, especially if you're hoping for a little switch up to the forecast, Owen.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we all love nice sunny weather, of course. I mean, it's nice to have that, but yeah, we'd love to have a little bit of moisture out there and some snow in the mountains for all those folks that love to be out there snowboarding and skiing, of course. Yes. Hopefully, it'll all come around. Any possibility of valley floors snow?
We were looking at some models like to spit it out, but I will say it is so warm. You're seeing like upper 30s for the lows. So we'll see if it actually ends up playing out that way. Right now I'm going to say no because it's still too warm. But we'll see.
That's the safe way as a meteorologist to go, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
It is. I get it. Peyton, thank you very much. Have a great week, okay?
You too.
All right, everyone, we're going to cut to a break. Cross your fingers that technology works for us. It's 2025. Everything should work great, right? We've got Bob Kratzer in the wings right now, waiting to get on. We're going to have a live report from him up north chasing steelhead. We'll find out how things have been to this point and then how, of course, things are going this morning. Let's just hope for good video. We'll be back with that in just a couple minutes.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.
Nobody enjoys the outdoors more than I do. And these are what gets me there.
Les Schwab offers a free pre-trip safety inspection. How does this help the average customer that comes in?
We call it our safety status check, and every vehicle that comes into our shop is going to get one.
Big thanks to Les Schwab for your continued support and sponsorship of Outdoor GPS, and I look forward to many years of more adventures on your tires.